All right, so today we're diving into the blueprint for the PRL token, and it's all built around this huge idea they're calling an internet equity layer. It's this vision for totally changing who gets to profit from the internet. But what does that really mean, and how is this one token supposed to pull that off? Let's break it all down.
You know this quote right here? This is the core mission. Think about it. Every time you post something, browse, or create online, you're generating value. But where does all that value actually go? Well, PLRL's entire reason for being is to flip that model on its head, to redirect that value away from the big platforms and back to the people, the ones actually making the internet interesting. It's a really bold place to start.
So how do you even begin to build an engine for a whole new economy like that? Well, it all starts with the token itself. So let's take a look at what the PLRL token actually is.
Okay, here's the official breakdown from the source. There are a few key things to unpack here. First, hard-capped. That just means there's a fixed supply, and we'll talk more about that in a second. Native utility token means it's not just for speculating, it's designed to do things inside its ecosystem. And it's all built on the base network, which is its home, its technical foundation.
And here is that hard cap number, 10 billion. That's it. That's the absolute limit. From the moment this thing goes live, the ability to create even one more token is gone forever. And this isn't just a company policy. It's written in the code. It guarantees a finite supply right from day one.
So a token with a fixed supply is one thing, but what does it actually do? A token's got to have a job, right? For PLRL, it's been designed to handle 3 very specific jobs that are totally essential to making this whole ecosystem work. The 3 jobs are access, rewards, and settlement. Think of access like your key. You stake tokens to get in the door and participate. Rewards are the paycheck. It's how data stakers and creators get paid for their contributions. And settlement is the economy's internal currency. It's used for everything from licensing content to paying out commissions. These 3 functions are designed to work together to fuel the entire system.
All right, now for what is arguably the most important part of any token design, the distribution. Who gets these 10 billion tokens? This is where the PLRL model makes a really deliberate and kind of radical choice that sets it apart from most other projects out there.
90%. Just let that number sink in for a minute. 90. In an industry where venture capitalists and early investors often walk away with the biggest slice of the pie, this model hands over the overwhelming majority of the supply directly to the community. That's a huge statement.
And this chart shows exactly how that plays out. Just look at this. Over 70% of the entire supply is for just 3 things: a massive airdrop, a community pool, and subsidies for creators. Now, compare that to the team's allocation way down at the bottom, just 3%. The numbers here really show that the priority is to get this ecosystem fired up from the very beginning.
Now that single biggest piece of the pie is the airdrop. We're talking 3.5 billion tokens, and they're going to eligible VRA holders. The strategy here is pretty clear, right? You seed the network by getting a huge chunk of the supply into the hands of an already established and engaged community, right from the start.
Okay, so we know who gets the tokens. The next critical question is when. A token's release schedule can literally make or break its economy. So let's dig into how PLRL plans to roll out its supply over the next 5 years.
At the Token Generation Event, or TGE, which is basically launch day, less than 8% of the total supply will actually be circulating. The other 92% is locked up. This is specifically designed to prevent a massive sell-off right at launch and to give the whole ecosystem time to grow and mature before the full supply is even out there.
And this timeline here maps out that slow release. From the launch in 2026, it's a 5-year journey to get to full circulation. So this isn't a flood of tokens hitting the market all at once. It's more like a slow, predictable drip that's designed for long-term stability.
So let's just put all that together. At launch, the token supply is fixed. It's non-inflationary. That 10 billion cap is the final word. But, and this is important, that's just the starting point.
And here's where the model gets really interesting. As the ecosystem starts generating real revenue, a portion of that money is going to be used to buy back tokens from the market and then burn them. They're permanently removed. This means the supply doesn't just stay fixed, it's actually designed to shrink over time. The model literally shifts from non-inflationary to deflationary, directly tying the token's scarcity to the platform's actual success.
Okay, so let's pull all these pieces together.
When you look at the hard cap, the token's jobs, the wild distribution model, and that slow burn release schedule, you start to see a very clear picture. This is a model that is very intentionally trying to be different from the norm.
This slide really puts it in black and white. You've got the PLRL model over here, 90% for the community, no private sales for VCs. And then you have the conventional launch playbook, big chunks for insiders and funds. That old way can create something called overhang, which is basically the market just constantly worrying about when these huge holders are going to dump their backs. PLRL's design tries to avoid that entire problem from day one.
So let's just recap the core principles here, the absolute key takeaways. A hard cap supply of 10 billion, no insider sales, a 90% community-first allocation kicked off by one of the biggest airdrops we've ever seen, and an economic model that's designed to become deflationary over time. Every single one of these pieces is built to support that central idea of community ownership.
And all of this, it really leads to one fundamental question. This whole model is a massive bet. It's a bet on community participation over venture capital. It's an experiment in trying to build a digital economy from the users up, not from the investors down. So the question we're left with is this: is this community-first approach going to become the new blueprint for the future?